Hello, grade 12. It's our last session for this week, and today we're going to continue working with Act 4 and Scene 1 that you read and summarized last night. Okay, so now we are done with the witches, with their spell and charm, and we're going to continue beginning with page 111 in your book, from the moment when Macbeth enters the cave. Okay, so but before we continue reading this episode, I would like you to watch the whole scene as it is staged, and you will see that for some reasons the episode will be abridged, so don't you try to follow along with the text. Okay, so the episode will be much shorter than it is in the book. So while watching, please think, why did the producers decide to cut some lines, some parts of this episode?
Midnight hags, what is't you do?
A deed without a name!
I conjure you by that which you profess, howe'er you come to know it. Answer me.
Speak, demand! We'll answer! Say, if thou'st rather hear it from our mouths, or from our masters!
Call them! Let me see them!
Double! Fire and trouble! Fire, burn! And golden butter!
Tell me, thou unknown power!
He knows thy thought, heed his speech, but say thou naught!
Macbeth! 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 Beware, Macduff! Beware the bane of life! Dismiss me! Here!
Whate'er thou art, for thy good caution thanks. Thou hast half my fear aright. But one word more.
He will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first.
Macbeth! 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 Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, and none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? But yet I'll take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted feared lies and sleep in spite of thunder. But what is this that rises like the issue of a king and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty?
Listen, but speak not to it.
Lie on metals, proud, and take no care. Who chase, who press, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquish me until great Vernon wish to hide Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest? Bid the tree unfix his earthbound roots. Sweet boatman's good. Rebellious dead rise never till the wood of Burnham rise. And on's high place Macbeth shall live his lease of nature. Pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me if your art can tell so much. Shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this and an eternal curse fall on you. What noise is this?
Show! 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 Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo down. Thy crown does sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first. A third is like the former filthy hat. Why do you show me this? A fourth, start eyes. What? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet. A seventh, I'll see no more. And yet the eighth appears, who bears a glass which shows me many more. And some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sights now I see 'tis true, for the blood-bolted Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What? Is this so?
Aye, so? All of this is so. But why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer up his sprites, and show the best of our delight. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you, fool, you're anti-groaned at this great king. Nay, kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay?
Where are they? Gone? Let this pernicious hour stand I, accursed in the calendar. Come in without there.
What your grace is will.
Show you the weird sisters.
No, my lord.
Came they not by you?
No, indeed, my lord.
Infected be the air whereon they ride, and damned all those that trust them. I did hear the galloping of horse. Who was't came by?
'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff is fled to England.
Fled to England.
Aye, my good lord.
Time thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is o'ertook unless the deed goes with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done, the castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife, give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before this purpose cool, but no more sights! Where are these gentlemen? Come! Bring me where they are.
Okay, you saw that the episode was abridged and a lot of lines, not only the witch's lines in the beginning, but also some of Macbeth's parts were cut out. Okay, so you think why this might happen, and right now, exercise 2 or question 2 for us. Analyze the witch's words again. So, oh, sorry, we did it. We did it last time. Sorry. Exercise 3. Look at the lines 50 to 61 of Act 4, Scene 1, and discuss Macbeth's attitude to and feelings toward the witches. So, in lines 50 to 61, please. 50 to 61. You see these very lines that were cut in the performance, because he says in the performance he only says, "I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me." And after that, witches started shouting, "Speak, demand, will answer." Okay, so but in these lines from 50 to 61, you can understand his attitude to these witches. Okay, so what is his attitude towards them, his feelings? Indeed, he's partially afraid of them. Okay, so because he says, like, you know a lot of things, and you you untie the winds and whatever. So technically in the beginning of the episode, what he feels toward them is like admiration, the feeling of awe. Okay, so he is like awestruck when he sees them, and you remember that when he saw Banco at his feast, he told his wife that I need to go and see these weird sisters again. So, which means he is afraid of them, but he trusts their word. Okay, now in the same lines you will find and list some of the verbal images of chaos, and you will discuss how this disorder relates to Macbeth's evil and selfish ambition. Okay, so images of or imagery of chaos from these lines 50 to 61. For example, untie the winds. When the winds are untied, when the winds are free to blow, actually it can bring a lot of chaos to those subjected to them. Okay, and let them fight against the churches. Indeed, sometimes when winds blow very strongly, they can bring down the crosses from churches' roofs. Okay, through the yeasty waves, confound and swallow navigation up. Indeed, winds, when they blow and when the ships are in the sea, the winds can make the ships lose their way, lose their navigation there. Okay, so please continue analyzing these lines, like 51 to 60. So now from 55 to 61, and see if there are any other imageries related to chaos or disorder. Okay, and how it relates to Macbeth's evil and selfish ambition. For example, these winds. You see, witches can untie the winds, can make other people lose their ways, and actually what Macbeth wants these witches to do is to unleash these winds on his enemies so that they are lost, and he is the only one who knows the way where he wants to go. Okay, so, and please think about the other samples of imagery from these lines. Now, in exercise 5 here, you are asked to complete the following table with brief descriptions of the 3 apparitions, their warnings, and what each of them might symbolize. Interesting thing again, in that stage performance that you just watched, you didn't see the 3 apparitions, right? You saw 4 people, 4, like maybe they were apparitions, the ghosts or whatever, but they were 4 of them delivering the message like all together in a choir, like all together at the same time. They were pronouncing these 3 different warnings or 3 different prophecies to Macbeth. Okay, so you didn't see the apparitions as they appear in the book. That's why right now I really want you to have a good look at your books, like in your books at the text, and find first of all descriptions of these apparitions, second warnings, and then possible symbolic meanings of those apparitions and their words. Okay, so you will have like 7 to 10 minutes to do it. You can discuss it with any person you can find around you, like your classmates. You can discuss it in the chart. Okay, now here are some ideas about these apparitions. You remember that first apparition says, and by the way, how does the first apparition look? Please, from your book, who can tell me? So, first apparition is like an armed or like armored head, okay, and the head in armor, okay. So, and it says, "Beware Macduff." So, beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife. What might that be? Okay, you remember that there was this Macduff, okay, who didn't take part in his inauguration ceremony, okay, who left before, and this Macduff, obviously, according to this first apparition, this Macduff is a kind of a danger to Macbeth. Beware Macduff. Okay, and second apparition. Second apparition looks like a bloody child. Again, the picture on the screen shows you a bloody babe, or it can be a child, it can be a babe, but whatever. And this apparition says, "Be bloody, bold, and resolute." Okay, love to scorn the power of man, for none of women born shall harm Macbeth. And this is a very, very interesting prophecy, or or promise from this apparition, that no person who was born, okay, of woman or women shall harm Macbeth. How come? So it means does it mean that all the people, because we are all born of women, okay, so does it mean that Macbeth should not be afraid of anyone? And I guess this is how Macbeth sees and understands this message. Interesting that this message is delivered by a bloody child. Why so? Okay, so what might be the symbolic meaning? It's a question for you to answer. What might be the symbolic meaning of the head in armors, the shield, like shielded head? So you think about it. And now the third apparition, you saw, this time it was a child, but not bloody. It's a child crowned with a tree in his hand. What might this child symbolize is yours to think about, and we will see later how it works out in the play. But what does he say, this third apparition? "Be lion mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspires. Our Macbeth shall never vanquished be, until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come against him." So this third apparition, third ghost, says that Macbeth should not be afraid of anything until the forest of Birnam come to Dunsinane Hill. Dunsinane Hill is the place where Macbeth's castle was at that moment. Okay, so but Birnam Wood should go to his castle. The Birnam Wood, so it was a wood. Birnam Wood was a wood in another part of the country. And of course, you remember that Macbeth was laughing at this prophecy. Ha ha ha! What can make wood walk and come to my hill? It's quite interesting, and we will see how all these prophecies work in the future, and if they work at all, we will see later. Now, secrets of history. A show of 8 kings. Again, in the on stage they didn't show these 8 people as kings. Okay, just whatever played apparitions there, those guys just left the stage. But one of them was carrying a mirror. In Shakespeare's time, those 8 characters were really representing a procession of 8 kings, like crossing the stage. And many people believe that Shakespeare had King James I very much in mind as he wrote Macbeth. And you remember that King James I was the king who was on the throne at that time. The 8 kings are supposed to represent the ancestors of James. And King James saw the play shortly after it was written. One story says that the 8th king, carrying the mirror or the glass, okay, focused it on the real king while saying lines 119, 120. Let's read these lines. And yet the 8th appears, who bears a glass, which shows me many more, and some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. So, therefore, King James saw his own reflection and heard the promise that his descendants, many more, would rule England. I think that was very impressive. I think the king was excited, maybe probably even terrified with this. I don't know, but I really believe that if this story is true, well, then Shakespeare was the greatest poet, the greatest playwright of his time, really. Okay, so anyway, in modern productions they usually cut these 8 kings and either show them as a procession of ghosts or kings without accentuating, without focusing on the persons of these 8 kings, who they were and why they were there. In some performances they just show kings from different cultures, from different countries, wearing different national traditional clothes from different parts of the world, passing by Macbeth. So I really believe that actually these 8 kings were actually aimed at King James I, and after that they technically lose their real importance for the play. So apparitions are much more important in this scene. Okay, now the witches leave the cave or the place, okay, leaving Macbeth alone. And here comes your homework, okay? Whatever happens after the witches leave Macbeth alone, and then you remember that Lenore came, okay? So now you will do these 2 tasks as your homework, and this will be it for today, okay? Now write down the homework and see you next week. Okay, bye.